My way, or the highway, and in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Gallop Out. I'm your host, Ryan Anderson, and as usual, I get to be joined by Jackson Muniz, my co-host, repping all the Eagles gear. What's up, Jackson?
What's up, man? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, yes, to you, to everybody that's listening. It is, of course, tomorrow. Jackson, we were on PHP last night, and we went through the first half of the closing weekend Turf Festival Stakes out at Del Mar for this Saturday, races 5, 7, and 9, grade 3, grade 2, and the grade 1. And then today we're going to go over those again, except we brought our guest of our own, and then we are going to go into Sundays as well and do a bit of a live handicapping session as those past performances were released 40 minutes ago, maybe. So without further ado, though, we'll bring on our special guest. You can see on the bottom scrolling ticker on the intro. You saw his name. He's within the money, as are we now, Jackson. You can catch all of the amazing stuff he does. He does a bunch of writing content. He does video content as well. We do the video content stuff too. InTheMoneyPodcast.com. You can see it all. And our guest for the show is Will Humphrey. Will, what's going on, my man?
Good evening, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's exciting to be on this show. It really is. I mean, I've really enjoyed what you two guys have put together and have loved the link up that you've made with In the Money recently. And I'm looking forward to unpicking these stakes with you. There's some really good racing, challenging racing, great way to round out the racing here for 2025 at Del Mar.
Oh, yeah, I share that opinion 100%. I was mentioning on the pre-show or at the start of the show, Jackson and I just covered the first 3 stakes for Saturday. Those are always fun to go into. And then, of course, they split it up into a great 2-day festival. So we have plenty of stakes race to talk about. And yeah, I couldn't think of a more appropriate guest to have on for the show than you. So we'll get on into it, though. But first, Will, tell the people a little bit about yourself and where they can find you and what you do.
Yeah, so I work for In the Money Media, cover the Laurel racing for In the Money, which is a great gig to have. I love doing that. Partnered up with the Maryland Jockey Club, and I also ride for Graham Motion in the morning. So I am travel the country riding Grade 1 horses for Graham, which isn't a bad gig really. So I'm actually currently out here at Del Mar. Came out here for the Breeders' Cup last month, and we've stayed and trained up to this weekend, and then this weekend we'll be done. I'll get back to Maryland, jump in the car, drive down to Gulfstream, and be down there for the winter for the championship meet. So it's an exciting lifestyle. I love it, and I love covering these races and talking racing. So,
Will, I gotta ask, because I know you'll be hopping on a plane after this weekend. Will your horses also be hopping on a plane, or are they stuck out here in Southern California?
Yeah, are we allowed to swear on the show?
Yes, you are. You're allowed to do whatever you want.
That is a shitty situation. It really is. I mean, listen, I don't want to get into it too much, but I mean, what FedEx are doing, literally announcing that the day before, is just wild to me. But no, they are not going to be getting on a plane is the answer. They are going to have to get in a van and drive some 38 hours all the way down to Florida, which is it's going to take a real toll on them. And I suspect, I haven't spoken to anyone and got confirmation on this, but I suspect that trip alone is probably going to mean that they're going to have to go to the farm and take a couple of weeks rest to recover from the journey more than anything. Because, I think I would need a 2-week rest if I had to drive 36 hours too. I mean, it's a long way.
No doubt. I actually do have a question about the kind of shipping shipping related, because we're on the subject. what's the kind of tolls a ship takes on a horse? I mean, obviously you mentioned driving 36 hours is pretty substantial, but wherever you're flying in from, when horses be transported by air versus like on the road, what does that kind of like take out of a horse? And like, obviously, I guess duration matters.
Yeah, I mean it's a fascinating subject, really. I think each horse is an individual regarding how well they take it. I guess it's a bit like us. Some of us can fly and have no problem, and some of us, fly and really suffer with jet lag badly. They always surprise me at how well they do take it. I would have thought that flying from one side of the country to the other, getting off the plane, and 2 days later, trying to perform to the peak of your ability in graded stakes, which is what you're shipping for a lot of the time. I would have thought that the flight and the 3-hour time change from the East Coast to the West Coast would play a difference, but they really do respond to it well. And you see some horses are able to fly all around the world and carry their best game with them. So I do think that it matters. It's specific to each horse, but at the same time, I think that on the whole, they take it pretty well.
Nice. That's good to know. I've always just been curious about that. But yeah, we'll get now into these graded stakes that we have to go over. But best of luck to you getting all the horses shipped back out east. You could always just stay west and dominate all the turf racing at Santa Anita. So that is also an option you guys might have. But we'll get into race number 5 for Saturday, which is going to be the first stake that we cover. And I'm sharing the wrong tab, so I'm going to share Saturdays instead. Race number 5 is the 1.16 Seabiscuit Stakes over the grass, of course, 3-year-olds and upward. Got a good field here. And Jackson, we did the show yesterday without morning lines or post positions. That's not the case today, at least for Saturday. Sunday, we're still gonna, we're gonna do it old school, but that's all right. Picks are up on the screen. I went 5-3. Jackson went 8-3, and Will went 3-8. So, Will, of course, you are our guest. We'll start with you. A horse that the three of us all respect and got a lot of love last night as well. It's the number 3 Almendares with Johnny V aboard.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked this horse, and I feel that now age 5, he's actually been better than ever this year. I mean, that was a fantastic performance he put in the Wicker Stakes 3 back. And I thought that he ran a tremendous race in the City of Hope last time as well, closing into a slow pace. You see those blue-coloured Time Formula S fractions, and he had a wide trip in there as well. And, he actually finished up. He was pretty well matching strides with Johannes, finishing off at the same sort of speed through that final 1/8 of a mile. And I felt that the trip and the pace sort of cost him second in that race. You haven't got any Johannes to worry about here. And I think that this pace is going to be a little bit stronger. He loves Del Mar, and he's just a very, very solid horse. And it was almost a bit by process of elimination, really, because I'd be strongly against the 5 El Potente coming off of that lengthy layoff. Dan Black has sort of been a little chilly recently. And I just feel that other than this horse's performance in the Thunder Road last time, which, came in February, this horse really doesn't stand out very much. I feel like Stay Hot probably wants a little bit further than this. And Sumter, I mean, he tends to run like a $5,000 claim around Del Mar. So, you take those few away, and I think Almendares looks pretty solid in here.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, and you touched on the pace scenario. Jackson, this is the horse that you and I both have in second. Both of our top picks are going to be horses that are forward. There certainly seems to be a chance that if Cabo Spirit and El Potente hook up on the front end, we might be in deep water, and Almendares might be the one charging down the track to pick things up. What do you make of the chances of the number 8 Cabo Spirit in here?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. I view him and Almendares very, very equally, and you can see the last 3 times they met up, they finished ahead apart, and a nose apart. So they're very equally matched, and it's going to be more of who's going to be better price in this spot and who is going to get better trip. I'm hoping it's Cabo Spirit. I don't really care one way or the other, but I do think he is the speed of the speed. I'm not sure if El Potente needs the lead necessarily, so I'm hoping Cabo Spirit, they just send him out of the gate, get him on the front end, because that's usually where he does his best running, and maybe he can take this field a long, long way at 5-1. I think it's more than a fair price because his best efforts are every bit as good as everyone else, besides the one effort of El Potente.
Will, let me ask you about the pace scenario. Who do you think makes the front in here? I personally think it's El Potente's race to give up on the front end. I do think the rider's more aggressive and Hector, especially on the grass. And then I think El Potente is just naturally a little bit quicker than Cabo Spirit is at this current point in his career. What do you think, or who do you think rather the pace comes from?
I think El Potente is probably going to go forward. I mean, he's a naturally quick horse, and I doubt Hector Berrios is going to take that weapon away from him. I just feel that Cabo Spirit has that outside post, and therefore he's pretty much the controlling speed. You know, I mean, he's going to be able to push El Potente as much or as little as he likes, and I expect with El Potente coming off of the layoff and not having that race fitness, I expect that Rispoli is going to be very well aware of that on Cabo Spirit and probably make sure that he does, you know, make El Potente work on the front and try and expose those fitness vulnerabilities in him. I liked the fact that Cabo Spirit also showed last time, you know, I mean, he ran as well as he's ever run in the City of Hope last time, and he did it actually from a stalking position. So I feel that he's got that ability to pretty much control the pace, expose El Potente, and I think that he's probably going to be the horse in control.
That's a really good perspective that you just brought, basically from the mind of a jockey, of how you would view this outside speed contender with a horse on the inside, and being aware that you can kind of control things from out there. So I'm sure that's in Rispoli's mind. He's a smart guy. You mentioned Stay Hot. I'm with you on the distance limitations. I do think Stay Hot wants to go a little bit longer. Jackson, I got to ask you before we move on. This horse, Astronomer, who you know is a bit of a pet of mine, and will feel free to chime in too. He obviously has issues getting his picture taken. Would his best move be to try and get to the lead in here? He kind of just runs in place around there, but he runs strong races. I don't know. That's just the only thing I can think of that could maybe get a change in him. You're muted, Jackson.
You know me. I am never going to object to putting a horse on the lead, ever. I don't care who it is. If you're in front, you have a very good chance of winning. And especially a horse like this who hasn't won in a long, long time, switch it up. Like, get really aggressive. If you lose, who cares? Like, you're 10-1 in this spot. Go to the front. Be aggressive. See what happens. Because he's always right there. He just can't find a way to pass horses late. Don't make him pass horses late. Go to the front. Who knows?
Hey, don't know till you try, and he's never tried in his life. So we'll go. We'll wrap up race number 5 for our audio listeners. I'm going 5-3. Jackson is going 8-3. Will is going 3-8. We'll move on to race number 7. Race number 7 is the 1 mile Jimmy Durante, the grade 3 for the 2-year-old filly. Picks are up on the screen. I'm going 5-9, Jackson 9-6, and Will 6-1. So again, we're pretty similar as we go along here. Will, your top pick is an East Coast invader coming over. I assume this filly made it on the plane in time. Mike Smith for Brittany Russell. You like Sweet Little Lila and the Jimmy Durante.
Yeah, I mean, this race is really, really difficult. And I will freely admit that I'm not particularly confident in my selections here, but I did come down on Sweet Little Lila, who I can tell you is not sweet. She shipped into our barn and she must have tried to bite me like 10, 15 times this morning. She's pretty nasty, to be honest. She can run a little, and that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Listen, she's still a maiden, but she shouldn't be. I mean, you go back to that race at Belmont or Aqueduct in her second start. She had a bad trip in there, and she should really have beaten Memorized that day. Connections clearly felt the same because they threw her in a stake next time, and I really liked her when she ran in the Salima Stakes at Laurel 2 starts back. And ran really well, closing into a slow pace. Couldn't quite match strides with Ultimate Love, but that filly went on to, go off as a 7-2 favourite in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies and is very, very talented. So I don't think that there was any disgrace in not being able to match strides with her down the lane. And then she came back last time, again, tried closing into a slow pace, but was wired by Candy Moonshine. And again, I don't think there was any disgrace in that. That filly came back to finish just 2 lengths third to Deep Learning in the Chelsea Flower Stakes next out. And so, although this filly still hasn't got her picture taken yet, I feel that she's very much proven that she's stakes quality. And quite frankly, I feel that, some of that form behind Ultimate Love, behind Candy Moonshine that ties in with Deep Learning, I feel that's just about some of the best form that we've got on offer. I like the fact that Connections are confident enough to ship her out here. I think that a hotly contested 1 mile contest is going to see it to good effect. And quite frankly, on Timeform US, I mean, she's just the fastest filly in this race. 8-1, I think, is a good price.
Yeah, 8-1, certainly fair value there. I'm not going to try and talk you off of that. I was pulling up the running lines from the Salima Stakes because two of those that finished in front of her that day ran back in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf on Future Stars Friday. So obviously those were fillies that were doing very well. Even Ultimate Love, that was ridden by Johnny V that day, went off at like 4-1 maybe after the scratch of Precise in that race. So took a lot of money, and she ran very respectably behind her. Jackson, anything to add on the number 6, Sweet Little Lila, who you have in second?
No, I think Will covered it. She seems like a pretty square price against this bunch.
All right, then you can go ahead and talk about the number 9, Hypergamy, who I think is your morning line favorite, if I was doing all my number looking correctly.
I think so too, which surprised me a little bit. There's just no way
There's a few surprising morning lines in here.
There's no way Chad Brown's gonna be 6-1 in this spot. If that happens, then something is. I would stay so far away from her 6-1. Something she's clearly not very good if she's 6-1 here. Yeah, as far as this filly goes, I like what she's done in her last three starts. Just a stake race, 3 back. It was kind of a weird race. It fell apart late. She kind of made the first move into that pace and just got a little tired. That was a respectable effort for being her second career start. Obviously, something happened the next race, and Shane came on last night and said they found out she was sick the night after the race, so she had an excuse for that day. And then, the most recent effort, I know she had absolutely everything her own way, but it came back really fast on the clock. She ran away from the field late, which is what I want to see if you do have things your own way. I want to see you run away from the field. I don't want to see you, hanging on for dear life after setting slow fractions. So I think she did that. And I do know she doesn't necessarily need the lead to be at her best in this spot. So I think she's the one to beat. 7-2 seems a little low to me. I think I'd probably hope she drifts up a tad, but I do think she's live here.
Yeah, I certainly think she's live. I picked her in second. You went over a lot of good points, including that 2-back start at Santa Anita, where Shane confirmed with us she got sick, the night or the morning after the race, and she was perfectly healthy during the race, but clearly was not 100% the day after. So came right back, broke the maiden. You wonder maybe the quality of that field, but could certainly take a step forward. Maybe first time Antonio Fresu last time made the difference. So I'll root for Hypergamy for sure. She'll be on my tickets. One of the last ones I want to talk about before we move on to the grade 1 on Saturday is the number 5, La Vie Lumiere. Kazushi Kimura's aboard for Michael McCarthy, Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. I love the City of Lights going on the grass, and I like a lot of what this filly has done. Obviously, and I mentioned this last night, my biggest concern is that her worst race on the page by a mile was over this turf course at this distance. So I don't love every bit of that, but I want to think that, maybe that was just kind of used as a stepping stone into the Oakleaf. Maybe they always wanted to get this filly on the dirt and then target the Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies. And that looks like kind of the progression that they went. So I'm willing to excuse that first off the bench effort. She's in good form right now. And Will had mentioned the form lines that Sweet Little Lila has kept. La Vie Lumiere has run against all the best fillies last time out in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies. That was, of course, on dirt. So it's a little bit of a different class test, but she ran against those and she was seemingly overmatched, but she kind of ran her race in there. So you can ignore the little C next to this, as I don't think that race favored closers at all. Oh, as I click on the wrong thing, is Jackson, you and I spoke about that in our group chat a little bit earlier on in the week. That denotation is strange to show up there. But the effort in the Oakleaf was not terrible, and that effort going 5 furlongs on the grass to break her maiden was pretty strong as well. So I think she does like the grass. I want to see her get back onto it, going these 2 turns, and she's worked forwardly out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies. Anybody else want to talk about any? Will, do you want to talk about the number 1, Latte Love, who you have in second?
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of scrambling to make a strong selection in second. I would be spready in this race when I actually play the sequence, but I just thought that this filly was very visually impressive last time out. The figure came back good. Demuro 10 for 33 at the meet so far, riding out of his skin. And I just feel that off of the visual that I saw last time, this filly got a heap of upside. I like the inside speed around this track, and I think that she's talented. But as I say, I'd be spready in this race.
Yeah, I would be too. You'd be hard pressed to find a sharp handicap with a strong opinion in a race of 2-year-old fillies on the grass. I think that in itself is a little bit volatile, but we'll keep things moving. Race number 7 for our audio listeners. I'm going 5-9, Jackson going 9-6, and Will is going 6 1. We'll move on to the feature on Saturday. It's race number 9. It's the 9 furlong Hollywood Derby for straight 3-year-olds. Picks are up on the screen. I don't think we'll see any surprises as heavy favorite, or will be heavy favorite, in the number 3 test score. Will, if we get 5-2 come post time, how much money are we legally allowed to put on this horse?
Yeah, I mean, start like crawling down the back of the couch trying to find every penny possible. I mean, no, in all seriousness, he's doing great, this horse, test score. I mean, he's a truly incredible horse. You know, I mean, he just hasn't stopped getting better, and any track, any pace scenario, he comes and he makes his run and he shows up, and he just takes his racing so well. Every time he's run, he's come back stronger, bigger, better, and he truly is doing better now than ever before. And you know, even better than he was last time when he ran in the Twilight Derby. We kept him out here in California to train up to this race specifically, and he's put in a couple of really nice works with me over the Del Mar dirt track recently, and we just couldn't be happier with him. I mean, he's very much the horse to beat, and yeah, hopefully he can bag his second Grade 1.
Yeah, I hope so too. Jackson, you've been on this horse pretty much since the start of the career. We don't need to go through all the highs and lows that you've gone through with this horse, but you also picked test score on top. Do you view any other horse as a win candidate, or are you going to try and play some exotics with the 4 underneath or anything like that?
Yeah, I might mess around. 5-2 is just ridiculous. He's going to be 4-5 against this group. I'm going to probably try to play a ice cold 3-4 exacta. Hope you get 4-1, 5-1 on it. These West Coast horses in this fielders, they're just not that good. Just to be blunt, they just aren't. And the 4 horse, the Chad Brown horse, is probably the alternative in this spot. He ran well at Aqueduct, 2 back. You know, I don't know how good that field was, but the number came back. It came back strong on the clock. He looked good doing it. And then last time at Keeneland, he had a tough post. He had a wide trip. He was all messy in the gate. Things just didn't quite go his way. But that was also a good field. He finished a nose behind Giocoso, who came and won right back last weekend in the stakes race. So he feels like the other horse in this spot. Probably the 3rd horse in here is the 3rd East Coast shipper, but I really think test score is he's just way the horse to beat in here. And I love when a plan comes together, right? Because as Will kind of said, this has been the plan all along after Kentucky Downs. We're going to get him out to Southern California. We're going to run the Twilight Derby. But the main goal is this race. We're going to have him ready for a peak effort for the Grade 1. It seems like his race to lose.
You both picked Salamis to finish in second. I picked the number 2, Friendly Confines. I just feel like, again, to go back to, using that speed, if Hector can get out there early, maybe he's the only one that lasts. I still think test score wins, and I think 4-5 is still a valuable price on this horse. But I'm going to play 3-2. I'm going to hope that, at least Friendly Confines is comfortable in the lead, and test score is going to be out kicking the rest of the field. So I'll go 3-2 in here. Will, before we move on, you guys added the blinkers in the Twilight Derby last time for Graham Motion, or for test score rather. Do you know, or what was kind of the reasoning behind that? And then obviously it resulted in a win, but this is a horse that liked to find himself in the winner's circle anyway.
Yeah, I think it was just Manny Franco being a little lazy, to be honest with you. If you watch this horse when he was running it, no, I'm only joking when I say that. But if you watch this horse when he was running at the start of the year, he just took a long, long time to find top gear. I mean, he looked like he was struggling at the half-mile pole in most of his races and would really take a lot of stoking and revving up to get into gear. And from Keeneland in April, Manny was saying, let's put blinkers on him, put blinkers on him, put blinkers on him to try and get him to travel a little bit better. So we eventually did, and then we put Juan Hernandez on instead. But I personally don't actually think that they make much of a difference to this horse. I mean, he's got his running style, but they certainly didn't harm him either. So.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. I was purely curious, just for that sake, because obviously he was a very talented horse, and I'm sure if Manny said we got to put blinkers on him after he wins a Grade 1 at Saratoga over the summer, that's tough to do right away. But he got the blinkers, and hopefully you see another top performance out of him. So to wrap up race number 9 and our Saturday stakes, I am going 3-2. Jackson and Will both going 3-4. Test score, a very prohibitive favorite on the day. We'll move on to Sunday. And as I mentioned, we're kind of going to do this live handicapping style. So We're going to start in race number 3. It's the mile grade 3 Cecil B. DeMille Stakes. Excuse me. We're going to go through the field. We don't have post position numbers or morning line odds yet. So, Jackson, have you gotten a chance to look at this? Or are we all and Will? Are we all going through this for the first time?
I glanced at the fields, like who's entered. That was it.
Yeah.
I haven't opened the form. I tried to. It just wasn't available.
It wasn't available.
And I had
Yeah.
other
Will?
stuff to do, so here we go.
Yeah, I managed to flick through this card, these few races already, so I've
Nice.
kind of formed a couple of opinions.
Cool. Nice. We'll go through real quick. We'll start from the inside. JJ Hernandez aboard a Graham Motion trained horse in Proton. This was one that immediately caught my eye. I really liked how he ran in the thoroughbred aftercare. Will, tell us about this runner. Is obviously, I would imagine this is the horse you're most familiar with in the field.
Yeah, for sure. And he's he's a really nice 2-year-old, consistently getting better both mentally and physically. He probably would have been one of the more immature 2-year-olds that we had at the start of the year, but he's really doing well. And as you say, ran a super race last time on the Breeders' Cup undercard behind Conducted that day. Did the slow pace scenario maybe help him a little bit in that race? I think it probably did, if I'm being honest with you. But the way he's come out of that race, he's really strengthened up and done well mentally. Just this whole experience, leaving the East Coast, leaving Fairhill, coming somewhere new, just really turned this horse into a new man. And he worked really, really nicely last week here at Del Mar. So I think that we're expecting another big run from him.
Nice. He drew very nicely. He's closed into a couple slow paces earlier on in his career. And, he ran his race last time and definitely took a step forward in terms of the figures. I think Conducted maybe was just, had things a little better that day. We'll keep going through the field. If you guys have opinions on the horse, please stop me as we go through or stop my brief kind of overview. The number 2, Brigante. Freysu is going to be aboard for the second time again. Last time out, Freysu got back aboard, went 2 turns on the turf. And that resulted in a win. Freysu's been very aggressive on the grass, gets this one forward. This one's by more than ready. And Jackson, obviously, he's going to need to take a step up on figures. But, the debut was strong, and he clearly prefers the grass. His last time out resulted in a win.
Yeah, my issue with him is that he was finally able to get the job done when he made the front. It doesn't seem like he's going to make the front based on who's drawn towards the far outside in this race. So he's going to have to prove that he can win against winners and win from out the pace against these as well.
Yeah, he's got a couple things to prove, but I would anticipate him being a pretty high price. The number 3, Carabuono, Leonard Powell, Armando Ayuso aboard. This one, since coming over, has run fine. Hasn't found the win yet, but has been placed in stake races. You see to the outside, or 3-back competitor was Hey Nene. That's the horse that's drawn to the far outside Jackson was referencing. And then last time out was well behind Proton, but we did touch on the fact that there was a pretty slow pace that day. So maybe gets a little more pace and I don't know. He's certainly going to be a long shot, but is this one you could see possibly scoring a big upset?
Yeah, his first 2 races here, I didn't think were good. Like, he just didn't run very well. He got good setups in there and didn't have much. But last time, as we talked about with Will's horse, it was a really slow pace that he tried to close into at least, and he was still only 5th best in there, didn't pass anyone, but he came home very quickly. I think the final quarter was 23-1, so he's got a kick to him. He needs a setup in this spot, though.
He does. A horse that I thought was really interesting is to this one's outside in Unrivaled Time, who also ran that final quarter in 23-1. I don't know what to really make of this horse. Has to take another huge step up, but when he won last time, that was visually impressive. You don't see a whole lot of turf routes won by 4+ lengths in general. Obviously, it was state-bred maidens, and now you're going into a graded stakes opportunity. So that's a pretty hefty step up. But Will, I'll see if you have any thoughts, and then Jackson on the number 5, Unrivaled Time.
Yeah, he was very impressive last time. I'd be interested to see what the morning line is about this horse, because he was very impressive last time out, but what did he really beat that day? I don't know whether the other horses made him look better than he actually was. And I wouldn't want to be getting sucked into a short price if that was the case. If he was a big price, there's going to be speed in here. He's going to get the setup, and connections clearly feel that he's good enough to take his shot in here, but State Bred to Open Company is quite a jump.
Yeah, on my notes here, I have that I need at least 15-1 because this is such a huge step up. I don't know that I'll get that, but that's the only price I would really want him at, because I'd also question what he beat last time. Another horse that broke his maiden last time out is Iris Each, is how I'm going to pronounce it. I don't know if that's correct, but got the job done last time. First time Umberto Rispoli. Third start of the form cycle comes in here. Another one that's got to step up. Something tells me, Jackson, this horse is going to take more money than he should just because of the connections.
He might, but it's probably deserved in the spot too. He was very impressive winning. I believe it was the first race to meet this fall at Del Mar, and he ran down Army Man, who was loose in the lead. Army Man ran second to Stark Contrast, who we saw run second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. So obviously some good form lines there. He did get a good ride, but it's also true that he closed into a pace that really held together besides himself. So that was an impressive race.
It was impressive. He's got to take a big step up, and as we mentioned, that's no easy task. That trend continues. We'll go outside of the number 7 Track Tiger. Doug O'Neill, Mirko DeMuro aboard. This one just broke his maiden under Antonio Fresu once again, but DeMuro's on today. Will, you mentioned this that DeMuro's been riding his eyeballs off. I think was the analogy, and that would be accurate. As you can see, he's 10 for 33, and he's close to the jockey's title. He's going to need a few wins this weekend to get there, but I'd root for him. That'd be a cool shake up to things out west. But anyway, to stick on track, Track Tiger, again, gonna have to take a massive step up. I don't know if any of you guys view this horse as a live long shot, but this is who I think is going to be the pace presence early.
Good. Yeah, I personally feel that he and Nay are just gonna be in danger of setting this up for the rest. I can't see that this horse is not going to be on or pressing the pace there. And for me personally, I mean, sure, he was a good winner last time out, but it's a tough task taking on winners for the first time, also making your route debut at the same time, and also making your stakes debut at the same time. A lot of question marks hanging over this horse, especially when you've got another pace horse there to press you the whole way.
No doubt. And that pace horse is right to the outside in number 9, Hey Nene. I hope I'm getting these numbers right. I'm just going off best memory. But Flavian Pratt, as you can see, is booked to ride for the first time. Hector is aboard somewhere else, and no Rosario or Paco in town. Third time starter here. Last ran the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Set the pace, or was up on the pace early. Faded to 7th late, but obviously a horse like Stad won that day. Stark Contrast, he ran second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, as Jackson mentioned, was also in there. So Flavian Pratt aboard for the first time. Either of you guys like this horse on top?
I'm not quite sure yet about if I'm going to pick him in a spot, but there's no doubt he's way the horse to beat. I mean, coming out of the Breeders' Cup, he was 6-1 in there. He took a ton of money into the teeth that some of the better Euros are going to see from overseas. So that's significant money in a race like that. He'll get bat in here, deservedly so. He's run very fast. Does have to answer some questions, whether he makes the front here and has to go fast to do it, or if he has to come from a little bit off the pace for the first time in his career. That's the question mark he has in this spot, but he's definitely the horse to beat.
Will, I know it's a little bit early on, so we don't need top picks or anything. This is obviously a horse that's going to take a lot of money, and obviously a horse that has shown a lot of talent early in his career. Sadler doesn't ship to the East Coast often. He did that. They romped in the Tyro, came right back, didn't miss a beat in the Juvenile Turf out here over summer. How short is too short of a price on here? Because I could see Hey Nene, especially with Flavian Pratt aboard for the first time, I could see this horse taking too much money to where I have to look elsewhere.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's a horse that I don't want. I want to try and beat him as a likely favourite in here. Look, I mean, I think that he's probably going to be sub 2-1, don't you think? Sort of like 9-5, 8-5 sort of range. And I don't want that. I think that Breeders' Cup, there's a major risk that would have left a mark. I'm intrigued by the fact that he returned to the work tab so soon, just 2 weeks after they were back on the work tab working well. So maybe that is a race that we just draw a line through. But look, he isn't going to get an easy time with the lead with Track Tiger there. And I just feel that other horses look to be heading in a steeper upward trajectory. I mean, you look at this horse's buyers, 77, 82, 78, 72, and I feel that others are, improving at a greater rate of knots here. and with some other questions hanging over him regarding that last race and the likely short price that he's going to be, I'm happy to leave him alone.
Yeah, that's good analysis, especially going into the speed figures we've seen and how they aren't trending upward. They are consistent, but they're not trending upward, which is kind of what you want with these 2-year-olds, especially this early on in the year. This is only his or early on in their career, as this is only his 5th start. But yeah, as I looked through this field before the show started, I kept coming back to the rail horse and Proton. Feels like there's enough pace in here to set things up for him, and as you mentioned, he has that right kind of upward trajectory, and he seems to be coming into this the right way, or in a strong way, I should say. So we'll wrap up race number 3, on Sunday, the Grade 3 Cecil B. DeMille Stakes. We will move things along to race number 7. It's the Grade 1 Matriarch for the older 3-year-old fillies and mares. We're going a mile on the turf course. We'll start down to the inside in the number 1 Medoro. Umberto Rispoli for Peter Urton, This one returns to Del Mar, where she's been very consistent. She's never been out of the trifecta in 6 tries. A hard-knocking horse for sure, but I feel like a Grade 1 is kind of kicking above her weight class, so to speak. She does well. She won the Oceanitas earlier this summer at Del Mar, and she always runs really well, but she seems to be that kind of Grade 3 listed stakes horse. What say you guys?
I'm just annoyed with her a little bit because this was one of the horses we went all in on the Breeders' Cup betting challenge this year, and she ran fine. I mean, no one was going to beat Special One that day. The horse just crushed. But look, she's drawn well on the inside. This seems like potentially an easier spot, so I'm not going to be surprised if she runs well.
Will, any thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, she's for me sort of Grade 2 type. She lost to a filly of ours, Give Me Another, 2 starts back, and I don't think Give Me Another would beat our filly Heredia in here. So from that form line, I don't think she's good enough, and I don't know whether the rail draw does suit this horse. I mean, she's gonna need to work a trip from down there into 10-horse field, and I'd happily pass her.
Yeah, 100%. Agree with that. To this one's outside is Breath Away. Kazushi Kimura aboard for the first time, also coming out of the Goldacova Stakes, finished in front of Medoro that day. This is certainly like an improving horse. I think she's kind of paired up those top numbers in her last 2 races, which obviously you like to see, Jackson. Is this one you gave a closer look to?
For sure. I mean, she comes out of the same race, and I didn't think that pace was particularly quick last time, and it seemed like it. And she ran well. She closed to get up for second that day. And looking towards the outside in this field, I mean, there are some fast fillies drawn outside. They all kind of have to go. I mean, that's their best chance. This pace looks like it's going to be pretty hot. She's arguably got the best kick in the race, so I think she's definitely a contender.
Yeah, got the best kick, has a really nice draw as well. We'll keep moving to Antifona. Last time out, came off of over a year off the bench to go down the hill in one of those rating handicap races that was won by Spicy Bug, who, if I remember correctly, the ratings on that one had to be off because that horse dominated that field. But Antifona entered in here at post position number 3. I mean, this is an ambitious spot, second off the layoff for Vladimir Serin, but he's at a really hot meet, Jackson, to start the Del Mar Fall meet. I don't know if you or Will, if either of you gave this one or will give this one a little bit of a closer look stretching out.
Yeah, Antifona's she's just too slow, right? I mean, she's never run a race that's nearly fast enough to win this thing. It's interesting she's here. I mean, obviously they want to protect her, I think. I don't think she's eligible for any allowance conditions in Southern California anymore. So this might be just a spot of there's just nowhere else to run.
Yeah, it very well could be. To that one's outside is a horse Vibes, romped under Flavian Pratt earlier on in the summer, came right back to win the Swing Time Stakes with Juan Hernandez aboard, now reunites with Hector Berrios, who was aboard in late July, rather, at Del Mar in the optional claiming event when finishing second. This is one that I think is a little bit interesting, but I feel like this is that horse where you mentioned there's a lot of fast horses in here. I feel like they might go a little fast early, and she's kind of the horse that might be, I don't want to say in chase mode, because I think she'd kind of be sitting where she wants to be, but I feel like the deep closers might have a little bit more of an effect on her in this one.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I just don't think that this horse is quite good enough. I think that she's sort of a good allowance, borderline listed stake quality filly. If you look at her speed figures and form and compare them to the like of AG Bullet, Suggester, Uzara, she's just not good enough, to be honest with you. Juan Hernandez abandons her in this spot, and yeah, I think she's got her work cut out for her, to be honest.
Yeah, she certainly does. She has to improve. But Jackson, she does have your favorite move, and she repeated it twice. Paired up the buyers at the 86, moved forward, did it twice, 90. So
the issue is, does the 95 win this race?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Spicy Bug drawn to that one's outside. Ricky Gonzalez is aboard. Came out of that ratings handicap that we spoke about. Won that day pretty convincingly going down the hill. Stretches back out. She's another one that needs to get a little bit faster. But I do like the down the hill to the mile stretch out angle. I do feel like that kind of correlates pretty well. Will, is this one that you think is going to be an early pace presence? And then do you view her as a win candidate, at least through this much?
Yeah, I think that she's definitely going to be there pressing AG Bulletin in our time, who I suspect are going to be on the lead in this spot. But same comments apply as I mentioned with Vibez, to be honest with you there, Ryan. To me, she just looks a allowance borderline listed stake quality filly who probably needs to step up here.
Yeah, definitely does need to step up. Maybe it's not impossible. To that one's outside is Ozara. Ozara has some very strong figures. A lot of them coming at the Spa, where she might be a bit of a horse for course there, but ran well in Florida. And Will, I don't know if you have any more thoughts on this. I feel like the Gulfstream Park turf course and Del Mar's turf course at times can be a little similar. I know Gulfstream Park kind of has the sand base to it, and we don't have that out here. But in terms of the length and the kind of the way that speed is so dangerous, I feel like they're maybe handled a little bit the same. I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
Yeah, I completely agree, to be honest with you. I mean, you compare those two tracks to somewhere like Keeneland or, even Saratoga or Aqueduct, and they certainly ride and play in a similar style. So I think the fact that this filly has run well around Gulfstream certainly bodes well for her chances in here. You can toss that First Lady try last time, I feel. I mean, you see the chart comment mentions traffic 8th pole, and it really was traffic. And from there, she was just wrapped up and put away for another day. She's an interesting horse. I mean, her overall body of work probably leaves her with a little bit of work to do, but that Bolston Spa effort, 98 buyer, I mean, that's probably good enough to win. So, whether she can run back to that, it would have been nice if she had had a clear shot in that First Lady, so we could really have seen whether she has taken that jump forward or whether that Bolston Spa was a bit of a fluky figure. But I mean, she was set off at 92 in the First Lady last time, and you doubt Miguel Clemente shipped her out here if he didn't think that she was up to winning this. So very interesting player, I think. And she's got a nice amount of tactical speed in there to put herself in a nice position too.
Yeah, Jackson, she should be sitting in a nice trip early. She certainly, if she runs back to that Boston Spa effort, I think that's going to be really tough to beat. I think everybody's probably running for second in here. The issue is she's going to have to recreate that at what is maybe what a track that she has not ever run at before. What are your thoughts on Ozara? At least you have the mile being her best distance, I think.
Yeah, the issue I have is the Boston Spa, which is so much faster than everything else she's done in her career. So where did that come from? Is she going to be able to do it again? And watching that First Lady back, I know she had traffic trouble. I'm not convinced she had the horse anyways, just based on the way she was traveling in the stretch. It's tough to say. My gut tells me she didn't, and I don't think she was going to lose by 4.5, but I don't think she was ever going to hit the board in that race either. So I worry she could be overbet based on trouble that may not have mattered in there.
That's a very valid thought, but yeah, never really got a chance to see her stretch her legs. Will, we'll go to you as Heredia, a filly or a mare rather that you mentioned a little bit earlier on in our analysis of the race. JJ Hernandez abandons a horse that I already forgot the name of to ride here for you guys. Has a win over this turf course in the Grade 2 Yellow Ribbon earlier this year. Walked the dog on the front end, but she's shown that she's versatile and can come from anywhere. How's she doing leading up to here? And then what are your thoughts on her chances in this race?
Yeah, she's doing really very, very well. She's been actually back in Fairhill prepping for this race. But I think that she's just about the most talented filly that we have in the barn. And I don't think that her speed figures particularly are a fair reflection of her ability. Quickly spin you through them. I mean, with her buyer speed figures, 91, that came off of a 500 plus day layoff. Then she got caught up in a slow pace at Saratoga the next time and was swung wide. Then she walked the dog in the yellow ribbon, so the speed figure was never going to come back fast. And then her run in First Lady last time, I mean, she went so wide in that spot to be beaten only a length and a half. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I think that it's pretty fair to argue that she was almost best in there. I mean, she was 5 wide all the way around the home turn, and then probably 7, 8 wide into the lane. Listen, she's doing fantastically well, and I think that she's much better. I know that she's much better than her speed figures indicate, and I think that she's got a huge shot in here. I like the fact that Juan Hernandez gets on her too, because the reason she had to go so wide in the First Lady last time was because she didn't get out the gate. But Juan Hernandez, he really did manage to get her to break well when he rode her in the yellow ribbon here in August. And so I'm hoping that if he can get that same sort of gate speed out of her and she can just put herself into a nice, mid-pack stalking spot, I think that she's going to have every chance of winning this race.
Yeah, she certainly should. I tried to full screen the replay from the First Lady as you were going through that analysis of the race. And for whatever reason, DRF's been having an issue the past day or so going full screen on the replays. But I tried to point it out. You can see the red cap of the Wathman Racing Group. At least 5 wide. I mean, that was so wide the entire turn. And then, she only lost by a little over a length. So I'm with you. She ran a lot better, or could have run a lot better had she not lost so much ground on the far turn, I think is what I'm trying to say. So she's coming into this the right way. She has that kind of upward trajectory since making that comeback in the Beaugay earlier this spring. The summer and fall campaign's been really strong. Jackson, your thoughts on her already before we keep moving through the field?
No, I agree. She lost so much ground in the final turn and still had the second fastest final quarter in that race. I know she was last and was probably supposed to run fast and down the lane, but she did lose a ton of ground in there. I don't think she needs to be that far back. She seems like she'll be a price, so she's interesting for sure.
She is interesting. We'll keep moving through the field as AG Bullet returns from the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. John Velasquez is aboard now for the 3rd time. Jackson, I got to go to you first on this one. I know this is your girl. I know you like her. Go ahead. I mean, she came off a stellar performance, going 5 furlongs in the turf sprint, stretches back out to a mile where she's had some success before.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite horses in training. She can run well, going 5 furlongs against the best. She can go 6.5 against the best. She can go a mile and hold her own. And that's the issue with her is I don't know if a mile is necessarily her best trip, especially given the amount of speed that's signed on in this race. I'm not saying she needs to win, but it does seem like they're going to go pretty quick up front. And stamina is a big question mark for her going this mile trip. So she's probably going to be favored, I would think, or very, very close to it. At the price she's probably going to be, I would be against in this spot, even though I love her.
Hey, that's fair. That's an unbiased look. I'll go to you, Will. Your thoughts on AG Bullet coming out of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of feel that when she came back out of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint last year, she got beaten in this race and her speed figure dropped quite significantly, and she was pretty loose on the lead in that race, pretty comfortable in front. And I just wonder if the same things happen again, the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. I mean, that's such a demanding race, even though it's only over 5 furlongs. How much will that have taken out of her? And then she's obviously going to have a pretty tough time of things up front. I love the filly as well. I think that she's wonderful, but I think that she's vulnerable at a short price in here.
Yeah, I do think she's going to be. Go ahead, Jackson.
The one thing I will say about the race last year is Sacred Wish and Gino Romantica, I'm pretty confident, are better than anything she's facing this year, at least. I still think you're trying to beat her at the price she's going to be on Sunday.
Yeah, I still think she's going to be
it was more the. Yeah, it was more the speed figure on time form and buyer. I mean, if she was capable of running back to the same sort of speed figure, she had every opportunity to do so last year.
Sure.
Without a doubt. So we'll see. She's got to stretch out, but again, she's had some success at this distance before. We'll see if she can last on the front end, but this is certainly one that's going to be a big pace presence early. To this one's outside is Sagesta, Chad Brown, Juddmonte, Flavian Pratt. This one's got to take a good amount of money into the teeth of AG Bullet, I would imagine. Feels like probably the main reason Flavian Pratt is out here. That's just a complete guess, but with this being a grade 1 and him being out here, he probably has some other races to ride too. So Suggesta, either of you have any thoughts on this runner? As she really only also has one number on the page that probably wins here.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that if you're looking for a horse to use in you know, exotic wagers or what have you, she's probably your safest bet, right? I mean, it's Chad Brown on the West Coast, Flavian Pratt. She's got that nice amount of tactical speed, and I think that she's got a nice wide post that she can get into position. She's just pretty solid. The problem is she's going to be a short price again. And you know, I kind of look at that First Lady Stakes, and sure, she was very good to finish second, but if Azara hadn't met trouble, if Heredia hadn't gone so wide, you know, would they have beaten her? We don't know. And she's going to be bet like that was certainly, you know, she was definitely better than those girls. So I think that she's pretty solid as a horse that's going to run her race, but it'll all come down to price as to whether I personally want to, you know, use her in my bets.
I'm right with you there. I don't think we're going to get a good enough price on Suggesta in this race. I feel like she's going to be maybe the horse that everybody gravitates to that's trying to beat AG Bullet. I feel like just because of the strength of those connections, and you mentioned Chad Brown out on the West Coast, I feel like all that's gonna add to a real loss of value and an underlay on this horse.
Yeah, I don't.
Jackson, yeah.
She's a tough call. I think she actually ran pretty well at Keeneland. Their pace mostly fell apart, and she never saved much ground. She was always kind of wide. She was always in a weird spot. I thought she did pretty well to hang on towards the end and finish second in there. And then obviously the race 2 back at Kentucky Downs, Special One, we saw what she came back to do, kind of validated that number. It seems like she's going to get a really good trip tucked in behind AG Bullet in her time. Let those two go, but she'll be not that far behind them, and she'll get the jump on everyone else. So she's dangerous in here. I agree with what you guys are saying, though. Definitely demand a fair price. I think 7-2 would be a good win bet on her at 7-2. I'm not sure we get 7-2 though.
Yeah, I'm not sure we get 7-2 either, and I don't want to take shorter than that. Last runner in this race we'll talk about is to the far outside, but a major speed presence and not to be forgotten about. It is In Our Time. Safi Joseph ships this one in. Javier Castellano, who I believe is going to be spending the winter down at Gulfstream, if I read that correctly earlier today. Javier Castellano in town to ride this horse. Will, any thoughts? Jackson, any thoughts on In Our Time's chances and what those best chances would be for her?
She's got to go.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jack.
She got the outside post. She's a turf sprinter. She's got to go. You have one chance to win this thing is to wire this field. Make everyone else go faster than they want to go and hope you have enough left in the lane. Then you've taken out the starts with their late kicks. That's your one chance to win this thing. I don't need her in this race, but she's definitely going to play a part in the pace for sure.
Will?
Yeah, she's sort of like a B-Tech version of AG Bullet, really. I mean, they're sort of similar type fillies. Both can mix distances, both sort of speed fillies. But she's just not as good as AG Bullet, and they're going to be trying to do the same thing here, send to the front and see if you can hold on. She's not as good as AG Bullet. She's been beaten by both Suggesta and Heredia when she's had things in her favor recently over the summer. And yeah, I can sort of see her running a good fourth, good fifth in here. Not a win contender in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought this is definitely a pace presence and could maybe help out those off the pace types, but I also did not view this one as a major win contender. Of course, I know all of us are still going to do deeper dives into these races as the past performances just came out about an hour ago. So those are all of the turf stakes going on. That was race number 7 on Sunday, closing day at Del Mar, the Grade 1 Matriarch Stakes. Real quickly, it's the last graded stakes of the meet is the Grade 3 Bayakoa. I don't know why it is the feature race on the day because you're going to have a Jackson 1-10 favorite, and I don't want to bet Hope Road ever again in my life after what she did last time. But she's going to win. Yeah,
she's the other horse I went all in and on. So I missed both halves. Mike and I missed both halves of the double in the Breeders' Cup betting challenge. We felt great about the way we played. I don't know. What is she doing here? It's 3 weeks later. She had no excuse in the Breeders' Cup. I think you try to beat her. I don't know who you try to beat her with. I might mess around with McCarthy horse again because I'm just a fan of that filly, but I don't trust this horse at all.
Yeah. Will, I don't know if you've looked deeply at this race, but obviously I know you were there Breeders' Cup weekend. Filly Mare Sprint, she didn't fire at all. She probably should have won that race. She was favored like she should have won that race, and then had absolutely nothing down the lane. Now shows up 3 weeks later. What do you make of that, if anything? And yeah, your thoughts here. She's 2 for 2 at the distance, so maybe she's better at 2 turns. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she's 2 for 2 at the distance, won this race last year, but she was 1 to 5 in that race and had prepped in the Torrey Pines at odds of 2 to 5. And listen, she's probably going to be the same sort of price in here. I always have reservations about taking horses coming straight back from the Breeders' Cup this side of Christmas. A little bit like the Kentucky Derby. These horses have been prepped all year to peak on the first weekend in November. And after that, it's like, when you've been ramped up, to perform at your absolute max, there's only one way down after that. And I mean, she ran her race. She just, didn't quite fire her best shot. And I can't remember, I'm blanking on the horse's name, but Baffert returned one of his Breeders' Cup starters already, I believe. Was it last
Nevada
week?
Beach.
Nevada
Yeah,
Beach.
and he was-
Sure, I mean, he got the job done, but phew, by the skin of his teeth, right?
At 1 to 9.
Over a marathon turf horse.
At 1 to 9. I mean, you tell me that, sure, he got the job done, but to me, he looked like a horse who the Breeders' Cup had left a mark on it. So, look, I think that she is the type of horse that you want to try and beat Hope Road. But again, who do you beat her with? We've got Warming in here, filly who recently won the Autumn Miss. And, I mean, she is training phenomenally well. She's breezing, 48 in hand and has been a real handful for me to get her to go 48 here recently. She's been working so well over the dirt that we thought we'd take a shot at some time, and this race looked like it was coming up, probably not the strongest graded stake. So if we can get some graded stake black type on the dirt for her as well, that's going to be very valuable for her breathing. But looking at this field, I mean, if Hope Road doesn't fire, shoot, I mean, maybe she can even win this race because it's wide open. That's for sure.
If Hope Road doesn't fire, it's anybody. So, I mean, Warming is in good form on the turf. And if you've mentioned she's worked really strongly over the dirt. So maybe this switch, just keeps her in good form. And I mean, when fillies are going good, they're normally going pretty good. So maybe the surface switch just kind of keeps encouraging that. And obviously, yeah, I'll be rooting for you because I won't be touching Hope Road with the 10-foot poles that Jackson works with. So, Jackson, any thoughts on Warming? Well, you said that you have 10-foot poles just available at your disposal. So, I felt that was.
I said that about 12 months ago. You remember that?
Oh yeah, that's in the back of my head, man. I got that, and 1.5 furlongs is 1,000 yards.
Yeah. No, look,
please know I'm joking.
As you guys said, that if Hope Road doesn't run, or if she gets caught up in a duel or something, then it could be anybody. And Warming's going to be a good price. She's going to be a complete unknown on the surface, but she takes away, she could be right there with anyone else. Yeah,
she could be. I give a strong look to Jane Austen. I thought the 2 comeback races on the turf were a little bit interesting because of what she showed on the dirt early on in her career. Obviously, a pretty lengthy layoff after the Summer Oaks, but if she can get back to that form, at least she's had a couple races under her belt. Maybe she takes another step forward. She seems to be the best at when she is forward in her races. I don't know what's happened to that kind of speed. Maybe she just didn't take to the turf whatsoever. So I'm a little curious to see how Jane Austen runs. But obviously, I think that the clear horse to beat, is Hope Road out of the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint. All right, those were. What's up?
I'd probably bet Simply Joking in there. Simply Joking?
Oh,
yeah. Simply Joking.
Yeah, it is Simply Joking.
Just send her to the front and see what happens. I mean, she was so good early on in her career. Obviously, things haven't worked out in the last couple of races, but you got to put this horse in the race and see if she's still got anything left. That's her best chance.
Hey, she is a practical joke who won going 2 turns, so maybe she's got a chance. Wouldn't be a show if I didn't mention that at least once. All right, those were the 6 graded stakes that are taking place this weekend. There's also the Hollywood Turf Cup on Friday. out at Del Mar, going a mile and a half on the grass. We didn't cover that one, but we did cover the 3 main graded stakes on Saturday and then the 3 graded stakes on Sunday. Will, it was a pleasure having you on. Between the stakes on Saturday that we covered, do you have obviously you are most looking forward to test score running. Are there any horses on the other stake races that have caught your eye that you're excited to see run back?
That's a really good question. You put me on the spot there.
I'll go to
listen,
Jackson
I'm
first
obviously
up. Okay,
looking forward. No, I was gonna say I'm really looking forward to all of the motion runners coming out this weekend. I think that we have good shots in all the races, to be honest with you. Test score, Proton, Heredia, and Warming. I think that they all go into this weekend with a great chance. So obviously looking forward to them. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, I mean, it is such a good way to round out 2025 at Del Mar. Just great to see all these high quality horses running back, and just excited for the whole week, really.
Yeah, it should be a very fun week of racing. It's always fun to close out the Del Mar season with the Turf Festival. Obviously, we'll miss Del Mar, as it's going to be about 8-9 months before we're back at the Seaside Oval. I guess less than that, about 7 months, 6-7 months. Thank you, Jackson. Jackson, any parting thoughts, whether it's about any of the horses running this weekend or the fact that the Eagles blew a 21-0 lead to the Cowgirls? Go ahead.
You're a Browns fan, all right? You don't get an opinion. All right. No, this is probably the biggest week of racing left for the next couple months. I mean, there's a lot going on between the Turf Festival at Del Mar and everything that's going on at Churchill Downs. They have a great card pretty much the next 4 days. It's a ton of good racing. So this is the last big hurrah for a while. So definitely looking forward to everything that's happening this week.
The last big hurrah until we get an average field size of 12.7 at Turfway Park next week. So there's always something to look forward to. Will, it's been a ton of fun having you on. I look forward to having you on more of our shows, especially as Gulfstream Park gets going. I know you guys are going to have a good string down there. So we'll certainly be chatting again soon. Jackson, you and I, we're done with our 2 shows for this week. Next week, it was confirmed earlier today. We got all of our ducks in a row, got our plans set. Exciting show going next week. We are going to go Tuesday at, I should probably confirm the time. I think it's 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be you, Jackson. It's going to be myself. It's going to be Nick Tamaro, and it's going to be Andy Serling for Cigar Mile Day out at Aqueduct. That's going to be a fun show. I'm excited to dive into those races with you and with them. First time for Nick Tamaro to be on here, and Andy Serling, as we know, is a great guy who's been able to join us a handful of times. But we'll wrap things up for all of the graded stakes preview this weekend for the Turf Festival out at Del Mar. Will, thank you again for taking the time to join us. Good luck with all your runners this weekend, and I'm sure Jackson and I will see you trackside because he's coming down. He's on Tony's seminar on Saturday, so Jackson's got to give out all the winners. I am 20 minutes away from Del Mar, so I'm never going to not be there. And Will is galloping all the winners in the morning. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time here on the Gallop Out. Take care.